Who was the first Santa Claus? And
So let's really talk about it. A lot of people will tell you Santa Claus is a white man with a white beard. However, more recently, some people are saying the original Santa Claus was black. Kind of true. So St. Nicholas was a real saint from southeast Turkey at a time when Christianity had a lot of people moving from Africa over into Asia and Europe. And in fact, most depictions of him were like this until about the 1800s. Now, it wasn't so much that St. Nick took care of kids, but instead he took care of whole families. In fact, one of the most told stories about him was of a father who was trying to marry off his daughters, but didn't have the money to do so. So St. Nick would sneak to his house every night and throw money to the window so he could get his daughters married off. Now, like they always do, stories get adapted and changed over the years. Saint Nick went from looking like this more to looking European. However, the basic story stayed the same for most of the time. Now, where a lot of you guys are probably more familiar with the adaptation of Santa and Krampus, there's also another one, is Santa and his assistant Swarthy Pete, which, as you can see here, is still celebrated with Santa and, you know, black face and red lips. And honestly, Swarthy Pete is still very popular over in that area of Europe. He's actually just as popular as the story of Krampus. And like I said, they have huge celebrations around these two every year, every single year. Now, while there is still a good portion of Europe that celebrates Swarthy Pete and Krampus, uh, most of Europe and America has adapted to this version of Santa Claus here. And actually, this was even updated in 1930s. In 1931, Coca-Cola gave us this image, probably the most traditional and well-known version of Santa Claus that we have today. Him, his little elves, all that good stuff there. Now, not for nothing, Coca-Cola has been very instrumental in marketing and creating iconic images in advertisement and so forth. And Santa, in this case, is no different than any other icon that they've used. This one just happened to be so popular that it gave birth to all the images of Santa that you've probably been familiar with, or movies that you've seen and been familiar with since, you were probably born. Even the iconic polar bears have been around since the 1920s, and later was pushed as an opposite of Santa Claus for other people to celebrate the holidays who didn't celebrate Christmas. Funny how they were thinking about inclusivity back then, too.